Draymond Green says that if he had to choose between watching LeBron break Kareem's record or playing a game, he would choose watching history. Run It Back starts now.
Run it up, then run it back. Yeah. Run it up, then run it back. Run it back. Run it up, run it back. Yeah. Run it up.
Well, that's a heck of a statement to start the show on, guys. But before I can get your comments, reactions, what have you, I'd like to introduce everyone. A man who's busier than most, especially this week. Stadium insider Shams Charania there, who's probably going to jet off here any second now with breaking news. Chandler Parsons, Eddie G. We're all wearing the black. It's obviously a Tuesday morning. Does anybody have any reaction to what I just said out loud? Eddie?
I'm just mad that the schedule didn't break that way. And I really hope that he still needs a point for when they play the Warriors this Saturday and Draymond just does the Olay and lets him go score. I hope we get there.
That's amazing thought, isn't it? I don't understand this Draymond love affair thing. Chandler, have you ever loved another player as much as Draymond loves LeBron?
Listen, no, not at all. I know they're boys. I know they're with the same agency, but no, I'm assuming he's just kind of saying that because the Warriors are not in a position for him just to miss games like this. But yeah, I can't see that happening.
Oh, it's just there's every day there's something come out of his mouth, and it's kind of fascinating. But we're not going to start with the Lakers, and we're not going to start with LeBron. We will start with the other team in Los Angeles, the Clippers and the Nets. How about the Clippers? Cam Thomas with 47 points, and somehow the Clippers overcome that, beating them 124-113, PG 29, Kawhi 24. And if you're keeping track, as one does, Cam Thomas has 91 points in his last two games. Look, Brooklyn lost last night, and there's chaos, and we know all about that. But Chandler, how optimistic are you for them, life after Kyrie?
I mean, listen, they found something here, and they've known Cam Thomas can score the ball. This is what he does. This is what he did at LSU. This is what he did last year when he got a chance to play. And this is what he does. He's a professional bucket getter. The way they were guarding this dude last night, you would have thought he was a perennial all-star, throwing double teams at him at half court, and he'd still find a way to get to the basket and get shots up. But hey, listen, they have something here with him, and they're not going to be able to double team him like they were last night when KD's on the court and when other guys are on the court. So, Sumner's giving him something. I think Nick Claxton has become a legit, real big, who's defensive mindset, who blocks shots. I can't help but think if Ben Simmons could just somehow start contributing, they need him. They need him a lot. They need everybody on this team, and they had no business winning this game last night. So at the end of the day, it is a silver lining to see someone like Cam Thomas have these two games, to see Sumner kind of contribute and give him that quickness in transitions, because they're going to need them now, and they are getting some depth with Dodo and with Spencer, and they're going to be a solid team. I just don't see them kind of being that contending team that they were with Kyrie as they are now. But these are two really impressive games from Cam.
Eddie, I want to ask you this.
Yeah.
I know that they've said all the right things, right? Like, oh, we love Kyrie. He was a mentor, all these good things. But secretly, deep down, how much as a player do you think they are driven and motivated by the idea of showing the world, we don't need him, we can do this?
I think the guys that came in the trade for sure are. I think a lot of the guys in the locker room echo Nick Claxton's sentiments, where Kai was a great teammate to them. Kai was a mentor. Kai has this kind of allure as a superstar that a lot of those guys do, where guys are just happy to be around him and play with him and learn from him and see his habits. But, yeah, of course, a guy asks out while you're a 4 seed and whatever personal situations he had with the owner and the organization, it's still like, yo, we really could have made a run at this. What's that about? I think games like tonight, like last night and the previous game as well, they show that there is some depth on this bench. There is some scrappy young guys. And, look, Cam Thomas was a first-round pick, and people thought he could go as high as 10 in that draft. And then the Nets were able to steal him late. And he's been a bucket his entire career, his entire basketball playing life. And we're getting to see that now. He's had 22 points in the first half, and he had more in the second half when they were doubling him and throwing Kawhi on him. It was an incredible performance. I like that Chandler mentioned Nick Claxton as well. His 16 rebounds and 15 points. And he's legit. Like, if anybody has gained anything from this month of, first off, the month of no KD and then the month of chaos, It's Nick Claxton. He's had to open up his offense a little bit more, and game in, game out, and it's shown the flashes of what he can be for this team. And if I'm the Nets, I'm looking at him and that price tag we got him on, and they got him for next year as well. And it's like, this guy has to be untouchable as they're still trying to tinker with this team, because he's a fixture for them going forward.
And this 47 was different, man. This was Kawhi Leonard. This was, this was Paul George. This was Terrence, man. This was a really good defensive team. This man had Nicholas Batum face guarding him 94 feet whenever he was in the game. So the fact that this young kid still has that ability, and he was forcing a little bit and he was putting him up there at the end. But in a game like last night, this is a huge sight to see for the Nets, that this kid, I don't think he's going to average 40 points, but he is going to be a bucket off the bench for them for a long time.
I just love that it's another night in the league and another couple guys with 40 plus. It's just ho-hum. That's what we do now, guys. On the other side, the Clippers 4-2 over their last 6, all on the road, by the way, Shams. So I ask you, as we approach deadline, quickly, here it comes. Where do the Clippers stand?
They're aggressive in the marketplace, and I think the position we saw last week, they pursued Kyrie Irving pretty hard. They made a pretty aggressive offer that included draft picks, pick swaps, young players like Terrence Mann, I'm told. So they went out there and they tried to get Kyrie Irving. They missed out on him. I would expect them to continue to be active to try to get a point guard for Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. They have Reggie Jackson playing limited minutes off the bench right now. Terrence Mann has manned that point guard position. So some names to watch: Mike Conley Jr., Kyle Lowry. Can they try to get one of those guys and at that point supplement having those 2 star players and having a lead guard that can really orchestrate the offense?
Kyle Lowry?
Yeah, you say Kyle Lowry. It's funny because a guy like Kyle Lowry on the Heat is struggling. We're saying he's washed, not the same player. You kind of mix it up and you put him in a new scenario with a new offense with those 2 guys, with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. I can see a guy like Kyle Lowry kind of playing really good for this team and being a key factor to this team, because they need a point guard. They need someone to initiate the offense. They need their Malcolm Brogdon. They need their Jalen Brunson. They need someone to kind of slow everything down, get their guys to their spots. And I love the roster. We talk about how good they are defensively, how they can switch. Zubats is an absolute monster. Norman Powell, to me, is running away with 6th man of the year. They have the talent and they have the pieces. They really just need a point guard. So I love names like Mike Conley. I love Kyle Lowry. They don't need to be the Kyle Lowry of back in the day. They just need someone solid, that's smart, that can get them in their spots.
That'd be a nice move for Kyle Lowry. I feel like that would be like, you're doing okay here. They're doing all right. The other half of the chaotic weekend that we just had, the Dallas Mavericks also in action last night. Not a bad night for them as well. I think chaos sometimes is good for some. They were at Utah. How about this? Josh Green, Jaden Hardy. That's right. Each scored a career-high 29 points, leading the Luka-less Mavs over the Jazz, of course, on the road. Chandler, look, can they expect more of this from their young guys moving forward?
Again, same thing as Cam Thomas. Do I think these guys they're going to average 25, 30 points a game? No, but this is why Mark was comfortable to pull the trigger on these guys, because they are high on Jaden Hardy. They really think he's got a chance. They think he has the most potential of anybody on their team. They think he's going to be there for a really long time. Josh Green, same thing. When I talked to Mark, listen, he's going to get those Dorian Finney-Smith minutes. We know these guys can score. They are bucket getters. They can do it in look, that's a great move right there. They move without the ball. They can, with the ball in their hands, they can get to the hoop. They can shoot. It's not about that for the Mavs. It is about defensively. It's about kind of getting Kyrie in the rotation, having him mesh with the guys, having Kyrie mentor these 2 young guys. So it's a combination of everything. We know they can score the ball. We know Luka's going to demand the ball still, even with Kyrie. But this is this is a very promising sight to see that Josh Green can go get you 30. Jaden Hardy can score when Luka's out of the game, and it's Jaden Hardy and Kyrie, and then it's Josh and Luka, and they have interchangeable pieces to mix up their rotation with guys that can score the ball and guys that can shoot the ball. I still think they need to add something on the defensive side, and then they're right there.
Eddie, you agree?
Yeah, I mean, Josh Green is a guy I look at who makes $3 million a year, and I wonder if the Nets ever asked about him in that trade. That's just a guy I would want back for Kyrie Irving. Dorian Finney and Spencer Dinwiddie is great, but if I can steal this sniper who's still on his rookie deal, who's rookie extension eligible, I'm going to need that too. But, maybe that was in discussions, maybe it wasn't. But he's been a talent all year long. I actually watched him light up the Nets in Brooklyn this year, and it was just masterful. It was great from Luka to just continue to find him looks, but it's dope to see him also get those looks with Luka off the floor with Spencer Dinwiddie off the floor and, kind of being the centerpiece of that offense. It's going to be a dangerous team on offense. We're going to see a lot of high-scoring games from this team. It's about how many times they can get stops on the other side, like Chandler said, and with their personnel, they're a little limited, and we'll see. Maybe there's a move or two left for them to go get that wing defender they need to really run that defense they run and hide Luka, because now they're going to have to hide Kyrie a little bit as well. And, they really bend their defense a ton in order to keep Luka fresh on offense. And I don't know how much they're going to be able to do that now without Finney and with Kyrie there as well. It's going to be interesting, but they're right in the thick of it. And if you can win a title by outscoring everybody, they're the roster that has a chance.
If you could just out defense, schmefense, we don't need that. That's not what we're about anymore. Jason Kidd, by the way, which I find to be an interesting part of all this, that will now be in charge of coaching Kyrie Irving and sounded pretty optimistic about it. Here he is.
We have a relationship. He's all about basketball. He wants to win and he wants to be coached. And this is, a great opportunity for me to have someone like this to help. To split my time between those two and the rest of the team, it's a great challenge and it should be fun.
Look, I was with the Nets when JK was a point guard there, and he had some moments that were very dramatic and roller coaster-like, although I don't know if they even compare to some of the stuff that we've seen lately. But Eddie, are you buying this? Are you buying that he is underneath all of this chill about what's about to happen?
I think so, and I think he's looking at it as talent. They needed talent on that roster, and he wanted a dynamic scorer next to Luka. This is the coach that, for as much maligned as Jason Kidd is as a coach in his Brooklyn tenure and then the way his Bucks tenure ended, he's the guy who said, Giannis is a point guard. We need him to put the ball in his hands. He's a guy who has been hard on his point guards, demanded a lot, but also got a lot from them, and he's one of the greatest point guards of all time. It'd be very interesting to see how he decides to mesh the two, but he's familiar. And he's familiar with the years he's spent coaching LeBron as well, with kind of dealing with that heliocentric part of that offense and ways to milk their other guys on the side. I'm interested to see what he does with them. And, I think there's only one Luka style, but they got to find a way to get the most out of Kyrie as well if they want to contend. And I think they're going to. I actually think it's a really good pairing. It's between player, and coach as well.
God, people seem so sure about this. Maybe I'm just a negative person, Chandler, but I don't necessarily think this is a slam dunk 100%.
No, it's not 100%. But and again, let's not forget, Kyrie Irving just played for another really good point guard, and Steve Nash that just got fired. So listen, it's at the end of the day, I think it's worth the risk to go and get a talent like Kyrie Irving. He is a generational talent. He's 30 years old. There is still a lot of basketball to be played. And by the way, they have his bird rights, so they can go and sign him for 3 to 5 years if it works out. Go get your bag, play well, make a run, mesh, lead these young guys, lead by example. He has the perfect opportunity right now where he doesn't have to be the best player. He's got an ex-NBA player coach that's so relatable. He's got guys like Nico, who he knows from Nike. He's got Michael Finley. He's got Mark Cuban. He's got the coolest staff that you could ever assemble around him to be successful. So if this doesn't work out again, it's probably it for him. No team is going to take a flyer if he now kind of is a negative addition to another team. Everyone's looking at Kyrie Irving, and so all eyes are on him. And this is his chance to kind of put all the drama behind him finally, which we always say, but go there go there and play basketball and win games. And I think he has a lot of basketball to play left.
Y'all are so cute. I just love the optimism and the idea that people change. This is adorbsies. Part of this show, Shams, final package in the trade included Markieff Morris, which I feel like he's not getting enough attention. We haven't even mentioned him. Where do we stand on how people are receiving that part of the trade?
I mean, he was a part of the trade to make it a 2 for 2. So he was part of it in that way. But listen, Markieff Morris, great veteran player. Him and Kyrie Irving toured the facility yesterday in Dallas. I'm told it was a great meeting for Kyrie Irving with Mark Cuban, with Nico Harrison. I think they all hit it off. I think they all feel very, very optimistic about this partnership and really Kyrie Irving's entry into a new organization, a new culture. It's a totally different dynamic with Mark Cuban, as Chandler knows well, just a really hands-on owner who treats all of his players, as I think first and foremost as human beings, and trying to relate with them on a daily basis. They're not always going to agree on everything, I'm sure, as Mark Cuban and Chandler Parsons, I don't think agreed on everything, but I think at the end of the day, try to see eye to eye on every single factor. And I think the biggest thing has been, how does Luka Doncic feel about the trade of Kyrie Irving? From what I'm told, it's been nothing but optimistic feelings, and I think just positive vibes from Luka Doncic about the arrival of Kyrie Irving. I think Luka Doncic views Kyrie Irving as a guy that can shoulder a lot of the load, can decrease his minutes at times, decreases his pressure and burden to score and create a lot of the similar to the way that Jalen Brunson did last year for him. But like Jay Kidd said last night, no knock to Jalen Brunson. We're talking about Kyrie Irving. So I think overall there's a lot of optimistic vibes right now in Dallas.
I mean, worst case, you get 2 good months, right? There you go. There's the silver lining. You just need a couple really great months in a row and make it work. All right, we got now we're going to do it. Now we're going to talk Lakers because, of course, there's a record, an impending breaking of a record. LeBron spoke to Michael Wilbon on Monday, talked about why he wanted to reunite with Kyrie in LA, his disappointment in it not being able to be done, and how he's refocusing on what matters moving forward. I mean, he said it as though, okay, I'm already over it. I'm moving on. Chandler, do you believe him? Is he really over it?
No, because the trade deadline's not over. And listen, this wasn't a mandatory sit down. Like this. No one asked him to do this interview. This is obviously he had some things to say, and he wants to get his message across publicly. Yeah, he could just go to Rob Pelinka's office. He could just call his best friend Rich Paul, who basically runs the team, and hear him out. He wants it known. And listen, he's having an unbelievable season. He is getting no help, but it's hard to feel that bad when I know before the season started, he was in on those calls and he was approving all these deals. So it's I'm kind of up in the air about it because I do sometimes somehow watch him and I'm like, man, I feel bad for this guy. He needs help. Man, they could just went and got Kyrie, but they didn't put Austin Reeves in. I'd be frustrated. I would be frustrated too if I was him. But at the same time, again, you don't assemble this team without going through LeBron. You don't sign the Lonnie Walkers. You don't bring these people in without getting approval from LeBron James. So it's almost like you made your bed, now sleep in it type of thing. But on the flip side, it's frustrating, and he is balling, and he's healthy, and his team is not good, and he wants them to upgrade, and they had a chance to upgrade, and they didn't. Listen, there's still guys out there that they could bring in. There's no Kyrie Irving out there. There's no one that I think is going to make them a contender, but there's still the Bogdanoviches of the world. There's still guys that they can add to let this team have a little hope and make a push. And I think once he breaks the record, I think that's going to be kind of behind him. And then hopefully they have a couple new additions and Rui pans out. But yeah, man, he's pissed. And like I said, no one made him do this interview. So this is him airing out what's on his mind instead of just going to Rob's office.
Yeah, it was random. It was like in a hallway. Like, let's just sit down real quick for 5 minutes and get this off my chest, Shams. I mean, that's it, right? It's a not so subtle nudge towards the front office as the deadline approaches. How much pressure are they feeling in there?
I think there's definitely an amount of pressure because you want to upgrade this team. You had an opportunity to go get Kyrie Irving. That would have been, in LeBron's eyes, as he said in the interview, a championship type of move, a move that brings you from contending for a play-in playoff spot to competing for a championship. They were not able to pull that off. And I think when you look at the marketplace, what move is out there that can really take them to a championship position? Maybe a guy like Bojan Bogdanovic, maybe the Toronto players, as we've been discussing, Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent, couple, one or two players out of that foursome mix. But clearly this is a team that needs shooting. They need some more wing depth on this team as well. So how do they find the shooting, the wing depth, the scoring that can add to this team to take it to the next level? That's the challenge that Rob Pelinka is going to have between today and Thursday.
Ooh, I wish it would hurry up. I really don't have the attention span for this. Like, I'm already over everything that happened over the weekend. I want more stuff to happen. Eddie, I want more stuff to happen. Do you? You don't seem as excited as I am.
I love this story. Like, I love that LeBron is openly lobbying against the acquisition he openly lobbied for previously. I love that there's an assistant coach who is tweeting eyes at LeBron's eyes to essentially say the same thing. And I understand his frustration. The thing that I kind of look at and kind of side eye a little bit is it's not like him and Kyrie ended amicably. Like Kyrie requested a trade off that team, and LeBron at the time could have jumped in front of it and never did. And they had like a little thing for a while. And Kyrie came on my show and said, "Yo, this is the first time I feel like my teammate can make the final shot too." And that was a thing. And that was a thing that LeBron didn't like and said publicly. And then Kyrie ended up having to walk back a little bit publicly and on and on and on. I do buy their chemistry on court. I do buy that stylistically he's a much better fit for that team going forward than Russell Westbrook. And maybe culturally and maybe relationship-wise and all that as well. But, LeBron dug a little bit of this hole before he fell in it too. But it's just hilarious that he's so openly lobbying for him, so openly frustrated with the front office. And he, like Chandler said, this was an interview about breaking the record. He wasn't there to talk about Kyrie Irving. Yes, it's the biggest story in sports. But he definitely, by all means, could have just not answered it, and they could have cut that part of the clip and moved on. But he wanted to be heard. He wanted this to be known, and he did what LeBron does. And will it work? Will it get them Fred VanVleet or whomever else is available? I don't know, but I understand the frustration because that trio going forward, and all they lose is Max Christie, who barely plays, and I think he's, talented and he's promising. Russell Westbrook, who they clearly aren't enjoying playing with. That's a championship team in this league right now, and they're not going to get that. So I understand the frustration, but hey, some of this is a little on you too, LeBron. But don't tell him that. Don't get me in trouble.
I think that's fair. Look, I can see the romance and sort of wanting to rekindle an old relationship. I can also tell you from personal experience, it's not a good idea. I wouldn't do it. But you know what? Sometimes we do things that don't make sense. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, the Bucks have won 8 straight. Are they officially the beast of the East? I know what the standings say. But before all that, here's an extremely casual deep three from Dame Lillard. Oh, you're not going to do anything? Sweet. That's cute. How's he so cool about a three from half?
Oh, my God.
Welcome back to Run It Back. There were other games last night. How about the Warriors? Played a little OKC action. I love that we just randomly get these vintage Klay Thompson nights, and this was one of those 12 threes, 42 points, blowout win over OKC. So a night like this, knowing that you don't have Steph Curry for a while now, according to Shams, what does it do for the team and their confidence, Chandler?
Yeah, it's huge offensively. I'm sitting here watching this game, and they're just trading baskets in the first quarter, and they give up 37 points, which is never a good thing, especially to the Thunder. But this is huge. This is why we don't worry about the Warriors. This is because they're capable of going, having Klay Thompson go 12 for 6 from 3, and they do have the scoring with Jordan Poole. And it's funny, like Draymond Green saying Jordan Poole was his best game. It's because he passed the ball and he was facilitating and he was becoming more of a playmaker, and while Klay had it going. So it's good to see that he has that mindset that other guys got it going. I don't need to be the guy. He didn't take as many long, tough, contested shots last night, and he was kind of that point guard for them that had a lot of assists. So it was one of the better games he's had. Obviously, he's had huge scoring nights, but I think all around, this is what they're going to need him to do. And nights that Klay is off and nights that Wiggins isn't scoring, yeah, Jordan Poole is capable of putting up 40, 50-point games, which that's what makes him so special and valuable, that he can do both. He can lead a team in assists and points. He doesn't just need to be the scorer. So this was huge. And again, this is a team that they're supposed to beat. It's just another game on a Monday night that they should have handled this, and they did. So that's a good sign. And they're going to need to do this a lot more often the next month with their best player out, and showing signs like the way Jordan played last night is huge. And this is exactly who they need to be while they're gone. They need to be balanced. They need to get their shooters going. And this was a big win for them.
I love Klay even talked about the idea of staying in the game and chasing the threes, multiple more threes in one game, but then said, I didn't want to chase records. This should happen organically, which I found to be a very interesting quote. Jordan Poole, if you're wondering in what Chandler was talking about, scored 21, dished out 12 assists, and Draymond once again did have this reaction.
Sorry.
Draymond, what did you think of Jordan's facilitating? And
I thought that's the best game I've ever seen him play. Played it great. He ended with 4 turnovers. 3 of them was this, him understanding what was going on in the game and trying to get Klay shots at the end of the game. So to realistically have 1 turnover and, 13 assists or something like that. I thought he played an incredible game on both sides of the ball.
I think Draymond's doing yoga or like meditation or, something, right, Eddie? Because we've come a long way since training camp.
I mean, he's well aware of the perception of what happened, and there is no perception. He punched his teammate, and he said it a few weeks ago. I punched my teammate, so now I can't be the guy I used to be before and hold the guys accountable. I mean, I think he's right in a sense that it is nice to see Jordan Poole unlock this element of his play. And, I also think it's a little bit of a kind of backhanded swipe at Jordan Poole to let him know this is how you're supposed to play for us, young fella. It's interesting, and Draymond is absolutely walking on eggshells for this team, and he's learning a new way to lead and all of that good stuff. But this is a great win. I mean, they needed this win bad and on the heels of everything that's going on. And they're going to need a few wins while they wait for Steph to come back in this month. And it's been a tumultuous season for them since that punch. It hasn't really slowed down since, just a bunch of different issues. So every win they can get is one that they need. And obviously they're a much different team at home as well. And but I'm wondering, Chandler, have you ever in your life shot 16 threes in a game, in any game? And it was so normal that Klay shot 16 threes. That number is absurd. You in any level of basketball, 16 threes.
Let me tell you something, Eddie. I still hold an NBA record for 10 threes and a half, and I think that game I took 16 threes. But that was when I think I was like 0 for 5 in the first half, and Mikhail told me to literally stop shooting. And I went 10 for 11 in the second half. So listen, you have those type of games. You get on those heaters. I was fully blacked out then. I could have shot like this and it would have went in. But listen, this is what they do. This is who they are. And I do think this is kind of a backhanded compliment to Jordan Poole. Like, yeah, this is your best game you ever played. You passed the ball. You were efficient. You didn't take bad shots. So I do agree. It was a very good, efficient game that he had. But I also think the way he answered that, this was more like a do it more often. This is what we need, not congrats, young fella, on actually having a good game.
You know what I love about men is when you guys communicate so many secret hidden messages. There's always something else to it. It's just fun to try to figure out. Sticking around in the Western Conference because things are a-changing out in Phoenix, Shams. What's the latest on new ownership?
Yeah, so this is trade deadline week, and I think this is low-key big news. Matt Ishbia has taken over ownership of the Suns. It was approved by the NBA's Board of Governors yesterday, and by today, it should be signed, sealed, and delivered. So Matt Ishbia is taking over the Suns. They are going to be aggressive on trade fronts this week up until that Thursday deadline. I think them and Toronto are the 2 teams to keep a very close eye on. But one thing that's interesting from this, it was a 29-0 vote in favor of Matt Ishbia to take over the Suns. The one team that chose not to vote, the Cavaliers and Dan Gilbert and Matt Ishbia, both mortgage lenders, billionaires, they have a big rivalry off the court, off of the NBA. Now it's going to be brought into the NBA. So you have billionaire on billionaire crime, rivalry, whatever you want to call it, that happened yesterday in this vote.
Is there anything sexier than a mortgage lender rivalry? I ask you that. The answer is no. Shams, get out of here. I know you got stuff to go find out for everybody. We await your news throughout the rest of today. But you guys stick around because we're doing a little, you buying that? We've got some stuff. I'm so obsessed with the last one. But first up, Bucks winning their 8th straight game last night, beating the Blazers. They lead the league in wins against above 500 teams. I like that stat, Chandler. Are you buying them as the best team in the East now?
Yeah, right now I am. Like you just said, they're getting healthy. They've won 8 straight. The Celtics have lost, 4 of 6. The Nets kind of don't know who they are yet till they get these 2 guys in the lineup. The only other team right now that's similar is Philly, and they've somehow managed to keep blowing these big leads to bad teams. So yeah, right now I feel like the Bucks would be the safest pick. And this is basically without Chris Middleton being the Chris Middleton that we know. And they have such a good defensive team. They have size, they have shooting, they have the championship DNA, and they're peaking right now. And Eddie hit on a couple of shows ago where we kind of sleep on Giannis, and his odds to win this MVP are so high, and he just keeps his head down. He puts up crazy numbers, and they are winning a lot of games. So listen, it's the NBA. Things change every week, but right now, yeah, I would take the Bucks out of the East.
It's very he referenced Tim Duncan, right? Giannis did. I feel like that's a very Tim Duncan brand. Just sort of put your head down and go, and nobody talks about you.
Yeah, 8 straight wins. This game last night was impressive as well. They really just took control in the third quarter and kept rolling from there. Giannis is rolling. Giannis came back off that minor knee injury, and he's been absolutely absurd since then. He was averaging like 45 points last week. As Middleton slowly works his way back, if they find a way to get one more wing, I know they've been in the talks for Jay Crowder since Jay Crowder's been available. Somebody along those lines that they can add to that rotation and continue to expand their versatility on offense and the amount of wings they can defend with on defense. I agree. I think they're the best team in the East right now. I know the Celtics are kind of off and on, and they still have the best record, which is a testament to all they've done this season. But this team is rolling, and they're at the perfect time, really, because they go on this All-Star break. They do something at this trade deadline. They were the title favorites going in last year, and when Chris Middleton got hurt, they still were right there with everybody else. It still took 7 games for Boston. They might be the best team in the league and the favorite for the championship as we sit here right now.
It's all about getting hot at the right time. Next up, the only 2 teams with top 10 offense and defense are quite obviously Oklahoma City and Denver. We've discussed Denver's defensive struggles. That has been a topic for sure. Eddie, are you buying, though, that their defense is good enough?
No. I mean, I'm going to keep saying it until they show me. And I think it's just it's just a matter of functionality. Look, Aaron Gordon and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope have been incredible on defense, and they represent 2 very different types of defense archetypes where KCP is chasing around point guards and ball handlers, and Aaron Gordon is kind of filling in every other gap on top of that. But I'll just always believe they're going to continue to get exploited in the pick and roll, and I don't know that you can win a championship in the modern NBA playing drop coverage. You look even at that Celtics team, they tried it a little bit, and they eventually had to have their big guys jumping out because, yeah, you can't just let Stephen Curry come off a screen and shoot threes. You can't let these modern guys do that, and that's going to be the Nuggets' issue until they win, until they just overpower that. And, it's a testament to Jokic and all he's done on offense, and to, like I said, Aaron Gordon on defense and all they've done there, and Mike Malone helping to plug those holes, that they're top 10 in both. But I still don't see a championship defense. I'm sorry. Numbers are great, but when I watch basketball, I see what I see.
Look, it's that team that everybody's just waiting to see if and when they can do it. Next up, my favorite. I feel blessed that I was able to see this man in a Sixers uniform for the final 38 seconds of their game against the Spurs on Friday, because we may not see it again. 76ers reserve guard Furkan Korkmaz is demanding a trade, according to the Philadelphia Inquirer. Now, he's on pace to play the fewest amount of games since his rookie season. Chandler, bench players demanding trades. Are you buying that?
I mean, I'm buying it because he did it. I don't know if anybody's listening. I don't know if it's going to happen. Maybe if they're going to make a move anyways, sure. Do they want a disgruntled employee going there every day? No, but I mean, I feel him. He's had some big games. He can play. He can shoot the ball. He thinks he should be getting more minutes, but they're clearly going in a different direction. But yeah, he can demand all he wants. I just don't know if it's going to happen. If it does, I think obviously I don't think the phones are ringing off the hook for teams calling about this guy. But if there's a situation where they can throw him in a package and get someone that they're actually going to use more than him, sure, why not? I mean, listen, he's already not playing. Why not piss them? Why not say this and let them know, publicly, LeBron style, that you're not happy. So I get it. Love it. I feel him. He's a hooper, and he's not playing. But yeah, I just don't know if anyone's answering that call.
Is anyone answering that call, Eddie? Is anyone answering the call?
Maybe for a second round conditional pick or something. I just love that Beadle confused me. I have the run sheet. I knew what we were about to talk about, and I'm like, yo, what Sixers great played 20 seconds the other day? I'm like, did Allen Iverson just give it one more run? Like, I was
That would have
very
been great.
confused.
Got
Great job, Michelle. But yeah, trade him, I guess, whatever.
Trade him. I get. You know what though? We talk about player empowerment. It should include all players. We cannot
Also,
have a class system.
we're making a joke. The Lakers could use this guy right now. He makes shots.
Yes, they could. Yes, they could.
Plus,
I
I think
agree.
saying his name is
wholeheartedly
fun. Yeah, I would like to see it happen just because this just opens up a whole brand new ball game. Just everybody's demanding trades. And why not? If you don't like where you work, you shouldn't work there anymore. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, something near and dear to my heart, obviously as a fashionista, it's fashion time when Run It Back returns.
Run it up, run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up.
See how he arrived today.
Oh, wow. That is.
It is
wow.
Oh, please.
Oh, man.
I'm going to need someone to directly
Become useless in that pink sweater, though.
That right there, that is amazing.
Is that like a built-in scarf?
Did you see how he arrived today?
I can't. Go ahead. Y'all
The
take it away.
Stones to wear this in a game you knew you weren't going to play in. Like, I don't know if Stones TV appropriate, but like,
Oh,
he
it
knew
is.
he wasn't playing and he wore that anyway. Like, incredible. Like,
It's high
he
fashion.
has a future in fashion. He might need to go do it. He might have more money there. They said
Right?
Giselle has more money than Tom Brady. Maybe Kuz needs to try that. That's insane. I don't know. What brand is that, Chandler? You got one of those?
Yeah, Chandler.
No, listen, I don't. This is ridiculous, and I'm all about being swaggy. I'm all about being swaggy, having a vibe, doing you. But god
I
damn,
love it so much. You know what? It reminds
I
me
like
of
how
it when it's like
Yes.
Montclair when Montclair did the high fashion and they went like nuts and it was everywhere. I don't think it is, but it's that kind of vibe. Like who wears that?
He didn't play in this game either, Eddie.
No. He did not play in
Hence
this
the
game. And they
Stones.
lost, by the way.
This is
I
a-
like how
this
he's
is
doing
a-
like his catwalk, too. Like,
Yeah,
he's
oh,
not
for
just like,
sure.
a lot of guys are just like head down trying to get to the locker room. Kuz did like he did like a little zigzag. He was making his faces. Like, he did his Zoolander. And it, like, when
This
you wear
is
that, I guess you got to. But
I mean-
goodness.
He dates a model, right? Like this is all very sort of on brand for my only question is, does he have any desire to design? Because if he's designing things also, then we really have a future in fashion for him and I'm excited for it.
This
That's
is
amazing.
this is a finable offense, honestly.
Oh
This
God,
is
I
A large fun.
love it so much. All right, there's more. I mean, he might have stolen the show. We will see because we've got James Harden joining us on the fashion catwalk next. Let's see. Oh, that's fine. I just saw that coat yesterday here in Chicago.
I mean, anything
like that.
anything after Kuz is going to be more subtle. So
So subtle.
yeah,
And
this
he's
is-
doing
I
the
like that.
mile-long walk up the garden. Like, whew.
that is a
Yo,
miserable walk.
So bad.
they can't dress that tunnel up a little bit. Like, we can't get
No.
into modern NBA fashion catwalk a little bit. By the way,
No.
I'm sick of Rick Owens, and I just looked in the Kyle Kuzma jacket, vest, whatever
It
thing.
was?
Rick Owens, $3,600.
God, that makes sense. 36. Oh, you know what? That's kind of a bargain. I would have gone higher.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wow. He probably
I
got
would've
two
gone-
of them.
Yes, Claxton. I love
Clax.
these pants. That's the perfect shade of pink.
This
Anyone?
is like a sheer top, by the way.
Oh, it
Speechless.
is?
Look,
Fabulous.
if you zoom in a little bit, you can kind of see that this is like the Dennis Rodman top.
Yeah, this is
Yo,
very,
he-
very
You can wear
dainty.
Dainty? How
Yeah,
is this dainty?
His body is just this makes him look super dainty.
Yeah. He looks like a model. This is the
Yeah.
thing about being a professional athlete. You can do whatever you want. Okay. All right, Jalen Williams with a little joke. It's a Joker, right? Yeah. Red pant. Okay.
Is it Kiss? Is it
I
not
thought
the
it was-
Joker? Is it Kiss?
Is it Kiss?
I think it's Sting from wrestling.
Oh, it is Sting. Is it Sting? God, we are the worst. This is why we're not cool.
Yo, the fact
Can't
that
even
we
tell.
don't know.
I think you're right.
The
I
fact
think
that
it's
we don't
Sting.
know. You
can't
really
see 'cause
can't
my
beat a red and
computer's-
black color combination, by the way, but yeah. Good job, I guess. This is better than Kuz. Is that the bar
Looks
now?
yes. I mean, yes. Again, with the. It's
I
another
think
Madison
Chandler,
Square
I
Garden.
baggy is in. Like I like the pants. I like the pants. I like I like to kind of dress it up with the jacket here. I don't mind. I mean, listen, after what you're showing me, I don't mind this at all.
This is like this is pedestrian, quite frankly.
I hate
straight out of 2004.
I hate that these dudes are like they're making me a hater, and I don't want to be. I don't. But then they wear shit like this. I can't. I
Chandler,
have to.
Stop it. Just stop it. Stop fighting. Just fight your inner curmudgeon and embrace what this is. I will say this, fashion faux pas, because I commit them all the time. You don't ever want to go baggy on top, baggy on bottom, because then you just sort of swim in it. Am I right? Yeah, I am. I'm definitely right. Maybe like a little crop jacket next time or something like that. I don't know what we're doing here. Okay, let's just get out of the fashion and talk the Suns, because good news, ladies and gents.
Thank God.
Devin Booker expected to return against the Nets tonight. He, of course, has missed 21 games. He could not come back sooner. They're 29-26, fifth in the West, 8-2 over their last 10. It's a bit of a bright light there. And remember, during all of this, CP3 was reportedly offered as part of a trade proposition to the Nets. So we know CP3. We know his vibe, I think, a little bit, Chandler. Do you expect there to be some lingering animosity on his part?
I don't think so. At this point in his career, he knows what it is. He knows the business. He knows if he was in the front office, he would trade himself for Kyrie Irving, who's 6 years younger. I don't think there's any animosity here. I think on the other side, they're stoked to get Devin Booker back. They're right there in the 5th seed, couple games out of the 3 seed. The fact that they've gone 8-2 the last 10 games without him is super impressive. And Mikal Bridges has been unbelievable. To get Cam Johnson back, this team, listen, we're kind of wrote this team off when they went on the big losing streak in the stint, but this team is right there, and they have all the pieces. They have their best player coming back, and the fact that they were able to stay afloat and stay right in the thick of things without him is huge. And these other guys got valuable reps. They were playing guys that didn't get the normal minutes. And listen, is Chris Paul maybe a little butthurt that they thought about trading him? But maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be an issue, and I just think he's stoked to kind of finish the season out with their best player coming back.
You're crazy if you think he's not mad. You are crazy.
I mean, is he salty? I don't think he's like mad where he's going to like sit out games, but like
not sit out, but like I'll remember.
Yeah, maybe.
God, you guys.
I mean, he had a great quote last night, essentially saying, he's used to it. He's been traded before. The story of when he got traded from the Rockets was like, zero notice. He's a vet. He's been here before. He's got a contract that is outrageous, and he's probably just like trying to play it out. But I think he's mature. He understands, and at the end of the day, he's still there. He's been playing great ball the last month, and they're on the upswing. And this is a team we recently were talking about, like, it's over. They got to blow it up. They look awful without Book, and now Book's back. Of course, Devin Booker would come back against the Nets. Of course. But, look, they're a dangerous team. And if they hold intact with what they have, and then maybe they get something for Jay Crowder, they got a playoff-ready team. They got a team we've seen had success in the playoffs and guys who get it done in big games. So they're dangerous. I mean, we keep talking about the West Standings and how jumbled it is, and they're right there. They get the right matchups. Look, Chandler, we get the Kings and Suns round 1. Are we just absolutely banging the Kings button? Like, no, we're looking at the Suns saying they still home court. They could absolutely win this series. So they're right there. They're dangerous, and they're rolling. Much like the Bucks, they're rolling at the perfect time, and now they get their best player back. They're only going to get better today.
I swear, if Jay Crowder doesn't move, I'm breaking something. Facts. Just write it down. I swear, after all of this.
Also, the Kings are a feel-good story. They have 2 good players, but I think right now I would take the Suns in a series against them. Give me Devin Booker back. Give me Cam Johnson. A 6-3 seed. I don't even care that the Kings would have home court advantage. I would take the Suns right now. And listen, the Kings have had a great year. They've done a special. The NBA is awesome and happy for them being in the playoffs. I hope they make noise. I just think the Suns would be a tough matchup for them in the first round.
I hope this happens, and I will take your money on that bet because that would be fun. All right, we made it to the 49-minute mark to discuss the record. Are you ready? LeBron James, here we go. 36 points away from breaking that record. Lakers facing the Thunder tonight at home. The over-under 35.5 points tonight for LeBron. Chandler.
Under. I think, listen, it's the Lakers Thunder. I don't think as many people will be watching as the next game against LeBron against Giannis. I think it's a bigger game. It's a bigger stage. It's LeBron against the new best player in the NBA. Listen, I think he's going to be gunning for it. I wouldn't be surprised if he got 35 and stopped, and then they had a whole ceremony against the Bucks Thursday when he actually breaks it. So I look for him to score a lot and to be aggressive, but I don't think he does it tonight. I think he's saving it for the bigger game, prime time on Thursday against Giannis.
I feel like all these games are primetime because every outlet in the world is trying to carry them in some capacity or another. Like C-SPAN will probably have something on it, Eddie. But you think yes to this or no?
Yeah, look, as somebody who bought a $92,000 seat to the game, yeah, I'd love it for running back. I'd love the first segment tomorrow to be 20 minutes in this record for Michelle Beadle's sake. But
I'll be sick.
I think it is. I mean, it's right there for him. He loves theatrics. But Chandler has me wavering a little bit. Like, what would be more dramatic than 35 tonight? And then the Bucks game starts with him scoring and getting the record. So I'm wavering a little bit, but I think he goes over tonight. Why waste the opportunity? And they're finally back home. Like, let's get it done. And let's have a nice long A block tomorrow to Michelle's chagrin.
Honestly, this feels like the longest ripping off of a Band-Aid in the history of humanity. For the love
Michelle,
of God.
you think he does it tonight?
Honestly, I could not possibly care less. But what I do care about is making America some money. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, oh, man. Well, we'll just pretend we didn't have one yesterday, but we will give you a new parlay bet on when Run It Back returns.
Run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back.
All right, I don't do this very often, but I am going to with heartfelt apologies right now because I begged to be a part of these parlays at the beginning of the season. I started out hotter than fire, got cocky, and now I suck. So I apologize to my two friends here and everyone who's listened to us at all. But you guys have crushed. How does it feel to be winners?
It's a rare feeling.
It's more about it's more about you losing than it is about me winning because
By the
not
way,
only did they not cover, they got smoked.
They really did.
This is a bigger win for me and Eddie that we got it right and you got it wrong than the actual parlay.
Know. You know what? And I thought 9.5's a lot, but I thought, wow, this will be a real ballsy move if this works, and it didn't. So you know what?
You didn't picture Jaden Hardy having 29 and Josh 29.
No, it's the same way I didn't picture Andre Drummond being the star of a game last night, but here we are, America. Okay, but I'm just gonna have short-term memory. We're gonna try again. I'm gonna try again. Anyways, you guys are fine. So, Eduardo, what do you have for us tonight?
I'm betting on the Lakers. I'm sorry. I'm buying into the story. I'm going Lakers. I'm taking even with the spread. I think, look, honestly, the Thunder are coming to second night of back-to-back, and they travel. Not the longest flight ever, but it matters. So I'm going Lakers. I just think, look, let's just give LeBron his night.
God. I mean, because you want to get it over with? Yeah, that makes sense. I can totally see that. Just get it. But I want Oklahoma City to have pride and, because you don't want to be that team. Now you're part of this history, right, Chandler? Like, don't be that team. All right, what do you got?
Yeah, and they said they have defensive guys to stop him down. I just saw that.
Why are you laughing?
Which makes me now think he's there. Now I think he's going to go over. But Phoenix, I'm not sure. I think I just panicked here and wanted to be right again so bad I took money line. But I think they're going to beat the brakes off the Nets. I think you can go money line or you can go Phoenix -5.5 or whatever it is. They get their best player back. The Nets played last night. Those two guys. I don't think Cam Thomas is. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe he puts up 60 tonight now at the route he's on. But I love the Phoenix Suns tonight getting Devin Booker back.
I don't know. I do too, but I feel like sometimes when the return of a big superstar, it's like a weird night sometimes. Like it just has a weird energy to it. He's not there yet. But
he'd also go 6 for 24 tonight, and who knows?
No, that's the beauty of it because we don't know.
Yeah.
That's why we're good. All right, I'm going Knicks at Orlando -1.5. If you would have told me before the season started that I would have interest in a Knicks Magic game, I would have been like, you're insane. But I actually do. I find this to be an interesting match, right? Like, I feel like this is a good one. 1.5 points, like that's nothing, she says, as she goes 0 for 100. But that is my leg there. So here you go. $20 wins you like 85. I mean, that's
I
something.
like this. I like this a lot.
I like our
I'm so
odds.
defeated. You do?
I like.
All right, well,
I like our
great.
odds here. I like our odds. Chandler's a little too confident for me, but I like his reasoning. I'm for it.
Yeah,
I think
that's the
Spencer
that's the Parsons way.
and
That's
Dorian
it for
are
us.
playing. So.
Peace out. See you mañana.
I honestly think the only thing that's not going to hit is Eddie's. I think the